Well, our good buddy Dan Oweiler is here today from Sterling Financial Advisors. And
How are
welcome
you, Kim?
back.
Yeah, I was able to get away for a couple of weeks. We were over in Hawaii. And so
Very good.
the bad thing about going to Hawaii is that you have to come home.
You have to come back.
That's right.
Yes, where'd you stay?
We were on the Big Island. We enjoy, my wife and I enjoy snorkeling quite a bit. And out of all the islands, the Big Island usually has the best snorkeling. So
a lot of fun.
It's been a hectic month for us. I think maybe the last time I was in, I don't know, but my father passed away a little over a month ago. But all is good. He was 95, and it was time for him to go.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks later, I had a wedding. My son got married, and then we went to Hawaii. So it's been kind of a hectic month in the Oweiler family. So, but all is good. And it was nice to get away and relax for a little bit.
Right. So, well, glad to have you back. Now, unfortunately, we're not talking about a favorite subject, but a necessary one. And
the market's up today.
Yeah, the market's up.
I mean, there was some good quarterly reports out, and I think the market is 26.3 today. And we're about 500 points from an all-time high.
Yeah.
So the last quarter of last year was kind of pinched us a little bit, but since the beginning of the year, it's kind of bounced back, and we're having a good year this year. So, we're still doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Well, I can think of probably a few companies that have just shot up quite a bit. One of them I'm a big fan of, so I can imagine. All right. I think this is
not a favorite subject for everybody.
No. But I like this because I think we all get confused by this. The difference between tax exemptions, tax deductions, and tax credits.
Right.
And, I went through this when we were doing our taxes, as I just told you.
Well, I thought, we're getting to the deadline, and most people have probably already done it, but I thought it would be good just to review this.
I think it's very good.
With people, but an exemption is basically you're exempting taxable income.
Right.
Okay, so things like IRA contributions, 401k contributions, those are exempted income to you.
Right.
And then we get the standard exemptions that the tax code 12,500. Deductions are deducted for exemptions and deductions are what we call above the line.
Right.
And it reduces our taxable income.
Yeah.
Tax credits reduce our tax.
Right.
So a credit is always better than a deduction or an exemption.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So things like exemptions are municipal bond interest. That's exempt from federal tax, alimony, those types of things.
Okay.
Okay. Those are exemptions. Deductions is what we are mortgage interest, charitable contributions, those types of things are deducted from our taxable income, where exemptions, we're not even including them in our taxable income.
Okay, now when you do deductions, let me ask you the confusion about that, because I often don't know. Let's say I gave $10,000 to a charity. Is it dollar for dollar?
Generally on contributions it is. Okay. Where we got into, people being upset last year is with the tax law change, we have limitations on our state deductions. We used to be able to write off 100% of our state property tax, 100% of our state income tax. Now that's limited to $10,000.
Yes.
Okay, so our property tax, state income tax has a limit of $10,000. So where we might have, here in California, big high tax or high real estate tax states, you could have, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 in property tax.
Right.
And then your income tax on top of that is limited to $2,000. So,
and also your interest that you pay on your mortgage is limited, right?
Your mortgage is limited to $750,000. Anything over $750,000, that interest is not.
Okay.
You're not allowed to deduct that.
Yeah.
So those are all what we call deductions. You exempt certain income municipal bond income or alimony or whatever it is, and then you deduct from that these limited deductions that we can. Once we come up with our taxable income, they say, okay, here's your tax that is owed.
Yeah.
Then that's where the credit comes in. And so, you know, earned income credit, or, you know, whatever it is, solar credit or whatever, it actually offsets the taxes that you have to pay.
Okay.
So a tax credit is always better than exemption and a deduction.
Right. And, you know, this year, as I was saying, for us, one of the biggest things we did not do and didn't realize is our paychecks to go from, we both had the one exemption to go to zero. And that was the difference.
Yeah.
So
I mean, people were getting more in their paycheck. Right. But they didn't withhold as enough to cover the tax at the end of the year.
Yes.
So they say, well, I have to pay more. I don't get me started, but a lot of news organizations say people are paying more in tax. Well, you paid more, but you got more throughout the year.
Right.
So it's not really.
In fact, an accountant showed me that. They go, here's the difference.
Right.
This is about how much more you guys took in this year in your paycheck. Guess what? That's now alluding to almost dollar for dollar, which you have to pay today or Monday. So in a sense,
it balances out, you know, and so a lot of the news organizations say people are paying more. You know, if you're not in favor of the Trump tax breaks, they're arguing that people are paying more in tax returns, or they didn't get as much tax returns. Well, they're not taking into account all the increased income they got throughout the year.
As he told us, really the people that have done quite well are people in more of the Midwest states, where their mortgages are a lot lesser, their state taxes are a lot lower. So those people are got more in their paycheck, plus they may be getting more back. Or
well, I have to laugh because Governor Cuomo in New York is upset because a lot of rich people are moving out.
Right.
And he says, we depend on rich people for our taxes.
Right.
You know, and he says he's upset with the Trump tax breaks because, you know, New York is a high tax state like California is.
Yes.
And a lot of people are moving out, and he's upset that people are moving out.
Right.
Well, lower your taxes and they won't move out.
Right.
You know, and so.
But this is really good information, and it's something I think that basically to help people out throughout the year. Now, of course, a lot of people here, you know, they don't get into some of this
They probably
stuff.
get into the standard deductions. They're not itemizing as much the older we get, and so they're usually just taking the standard deductions. Where you have larger contributions or things like that, where your mortgages are higher, and taking advantage of that, you're going to get in the deduction. But most of the time, as my mom, you know, is 94 years old, she just takes the standard deduction, and you know, everybody's happy. You know, so. But for those of us that are still working and have some other expenses, we may take advantage of that.
And this is something that I know you folks can help out with, because now's the time to be looking ahead to next year. You know, as my tax person said, you know, let's get your deduction down to zero on your paycheck, and then as we get into August and September, call me. Let's sit down and see where you're at.
Well, it's interesting. Interesting. One of my sons that works with me, same thing happened to him. He should have lowered his. He was taking a high exemption. So, you know, and he forgot to change it last year, and he had to come up with some money at the end of the year because he hadn't lowered it. On the other hand, my son who just got married increased his exemption because he now has 2 people. You know, so they were in totally different scenarios in their tax planning this year.
Well, it's good to, you know, it is what it is.
It is. And overall, I'm going to say overall, it was like your experience. The majority of people is a push, They just see the big lump sum at the end of the year. It's not as high, or I had to pay some.
Right.
But they don't take into account their increased paycheck throughout the year.
Right.
You know, so overall, you know, the banter going on is the rich people got better and the poor people got hit. That's not really true.
Right.
You know, it was probably equally spread out across the board.
Yeah. But you got to plan one way or another.
You do.
All right, good to see you.
Good to
Welcome
see you.
back. Glad
Thanks
to see you again.
And
snorkeling sounds like a lot of fun.
oh, we have a good time. Yeah, we almost do it every day. We've got about 5 or 6 places we go to, and the things you see are amazing.
Yeah, I've done that once over there. It was a lot of fun. Good to see you. If you want to get a hold of Dan, you can. The website is sterlingfa.com, and from there you can get all kinds of information and call them up at 859-8900.
No cost just to come in and chat.
Yeah, and it's a good way to start and just see where you're at. Yeah, it really is. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
We'll do that.